I'm Jason with Saving Sally, and today we're going to tackle a problem that I knew about when I purchased the car, and that's the problem that comes with my headlights. That's pretty painful to watch if you're the kind of guy who will have to wait on the car to get finished. All right, so if you purchased one of these cars with the idea being that you wanted a car that was immediately ready to drive and finished, that's probably one of the things that may have even spooked you off the vehicle. But in reality, these mechanisms just aren't that complicated, and if you have a handful of skills with some electrical equipment or with some basic troubleshooting, you should be able to figure out exactly what's going on with it and probably repair it yourself. So hang on, and we're going to get right into it. Okay, so the noise that you heard and the device that actually raises the headlight is this motor and gearing mechanism that's underneath, and it takes its power from this wiring set up here, and this wire runs all the way back to a control module that is housed right here, and it comes out of this side. So this plug here operates one set of headlights on the top and another set of headlights on the bottom, and so this is the headlight here that wasn't working. And so what we basically want to do is I want to see if I'm getting power even to the motor. All right, so this is our module here, and I'm going to reach back here and pull the lock tab and slide out our wiring configuration. And down inside of there, it's a little tough to see, I know, but there are 4 pins, and I'm basically going to check those pins for voltage while the light is being energized. Should be fairly easy to determine which light is which. If you'll notice, one of these has a solid green and a solid gray, and the other has a green with a white stripe and a gray with a black stripe. So we should easily be able to figure out which one of these went to which light. You'll have to check that at the wiring harness itself. So in my case, the one that is not working is the one that has the stripes on it. So I should easily be able to put my meter on the top 2 prongs, have someone else press the switch, and that would let me know if I'm getting electrical output. Now in my case, we've already done that, and I do know that I'm getting an electrical output. So all that leaves is a break in the wires between here and the headlight. So at this point, if I wanted to prove to myself, I would go to my meter, and I'm going to switch it over to ohms, and I can ohm these wires. So the first wire I'll ohm is the gray, because I kind of cheated and I know that the gray is good. And you can hear the tone, and the tone tells us that we have a continuous wire from here all the way to the headlight. The next one I want to check, of course, is the green, and again, I've cheated and I already know that it's broken. So I'll come here and plug it in, and lo and behold, I have no tone. So I know for 100% certain that there's a break in this green and white stripe wire somewhere between this module and the headlight assembly. And that is going to be no fun, because this is how the wiring is routed. It's just everywhere. And I can't take the camera, so the only thing that I can tell you that I'm going to do here for the sake of this video is I'm just going to get down and dirty and trace that wire, and when I find the break, I'll show you where it is. All right, I wanted to take a minute to just cut in and kind of show you exactly what we're doing with this meter and how it works. So I'm going to move the meter and set it from off to the ohms or resistance setting. And what that's going to do is tell me if there is a continuous path for electricity to flow through this wire uninterrupted. In other words, it'll let me know if there are any breaks. One of the leads I'm going to attach with an alligator clip. So I'll attach the black lead to an alligator clip on this side, and then I'll attach the other side like this. And now I can use the red lead, and I can get a reading. And right now you'll see we have open limit, and what that tells me is that there is no path for electricity to flow. Once I make connection with the wire, you'll see that the resistance goes very low, in this case 0.3 ohms. In our case, we know that there's a break in the wire. We know that the break exists somewhere where we can't see. So we can go to known points in the wire and take our sharpened lead and press it through the insulation into the copper strands below. And you can see on the meter we get the same reading of 0.3. And I can do that in multiple places throughout the wire and prove where my break occurs. Now in this case, we're not going to find a break. This is a continuous wire. But this would be if we knew that this end of this wire belonged to that end of that wire, but we were not seeing a continuous path for electricity. We could go through and check known points of the wire and narrow down our search parameters to an area where we know the break has to exist. And of course, it should go without saying that any holes that you puncture in the insulation, you should make some sort of effort to patch those. I'm going to be using electrical tape because at some point I will most likely replace that entire wire along with the clip. But if this was going to be a more permanent repair, there are better patch methods, including rubberized tape that seals fairly permanently. So the big thing is don't leave these holes in the wire. I have a feeling that the whole reason I have this problem is because a hole existed in the wire and in some capacity corroded that copper away. So the bad part is I started all the way back here at this module and I traced down through the engine compartment, down through all this wiring, and I kept checking random locations until I got all the way back up here to the clip where we started, and as luck would have it, the burned spot is right here. But basically the copper wire has literally just become grayish green powder. So I'm going to clip this wire and just splice it in for now. I don't even know if this piece is available to buy as a separate purchase, but if it is, we're going to make that effort, and we'll just get it working for now. Off camera, I am tinning my solder tip. There we go. And let's hope for the best. I'm already melting my heat shrink. There we go. It's a bit sloppy, but it's done. Well, that was about 1,000,000 miles away from ideal, but the job is done, and I'll get some tape on that since I wasn't able to do it before I shrank my heat shrink material. When I get some tape on there, that'll be as good as we can go. I wasn't able to find these clips for sale in order to re-terminate this. That may be something I'll do one day in the future, but for now, a little electrical tape with that solder joint should solve our problem. So today we did tackle the electrical feed problem to the driver's side headlight. To just be honest with you, this is not the kind of repair that I was hoping to do. It's really not up to the standard that I want to bring this car up to, but I was not able to get my hands on the electrical clip or the tool that I was going to need to repin it. And so necessity's been kind of the mother of invention here, and I just did a basic solder splice, and I tried to do some heat shrink, but the solder took a little long. You, of course, saw what happened there. Is this repair a repair that could be permanent? Probably. For most people, that repair could probably last as long as you would have the car and maybe the next 2 or 3 owners as well. That's just not in an area that's real critical where you're seeing a lot of bending and flexing in the wire. For a daily driver, something that you just want to have a car that looks kind of nice when you run it through the car wash and maybe have a little fun in, that type of repair is probably A-okay. For what I'm trying to do, that type of repair is going to get me by until the right amount of research can lead me to the correct way to do that repair. So until then, that is going to have to do as far as getting you by in terms of showing someone who maybe hasn't done it before how to trace down a fault in a wire. I hope the video was informative. It's kind of hard to take the camera in some of these places and do some filming, but at the end of the day, I did film the process as best I could, and I did show you the most basic way on wire break tracing. So until next time, this is Jason, and this has been Saving Sally. Stop and hold up just a minute. I almost went off the video without doing a headlight test. Let's get that done. Oh, we almost got our second headlight to come up with it this time. Not quite. So in a later video, we are going to address that issue. I've got a rebuild kit already for that motor. That's a pretty simple job to do, so that's something that is coming in a later video, but not today. We're going to call this repair a wrapped up repair, until which time I can get a new plug and possibly replace that entire wire all the way back to this harness. So this time, until next time, this is Jason, and this has been Saving Sally.